Before sunrise, Burn Dairy and Deli is preparing to fuel your day with hot coffee, donuts, muffins, breakfast sandwiches, and other morning staples. For lunch, grab a giant deli sandwich made the way you like it. Pizza, wings, wraps, or a fresh salad. Plus, something to wash it down. Then pick up dinner or a sweet treat and other pantry essentials. Now you can get your Burn Dairy and Deli favorites delivered with DoorDash. All day, every day, you can count on Burn Dairy and Deli. It's all good.
Hi, this is Cal Ripken Jr., and you're listening to the ML Sports Platter.
All right, here we go. It is indeed another edition of the ML Sports Platter all over the major platforms. Please download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. We are brought to you by Sit Mean Sit Syracuse, our good friends at the Allen Angus Pub, as well as Welch and Company Jewelers and Elevate Fitness. If you're in and around Central New York, get on over to Elevate Fitness, a brand new sponsor to the platform. You can get your membership today. They have a hot tub. They have a pool. They have classes. They have a personal trainer you can work with. They've got all the best workout equipment available. Get on over to Elevate Fitness today, Morgan Road in Liverpool. Grab your membership for the next year plus. And, of course, you can visit them online and on all the social media channels as well. Tip of the cap, thank you to the Swan and Whitaker families for their support of the platform as well. Let's get into the NFL. We are now 7 weeks in the books. As I record this, the Saints beat the Seahawks on just a really, really dreadful evening for Monday Night Football. It was just not a good game to watch. I was kind of in and out with it. I was focused more on the Sabres beating the Lightning, and I'm, heavily into another book, so I just, look, New Orleans and Seattle, and I'm going to kind of recap this Monday night game quickly because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, and then I'll go way back to last Thursday. But the reality is that a lot's missing in this game because the quarterbacks aren't there. I mean, that's where all of this comes down to, right? I mean, it comes down to no Russell Wilson, and it comes down to no Drew Brees, who's retired. It just doesn't have the same feel. Brian Johnson made a clutch kick to give the Saints the lead. They win 13-10. Alvin Kamara was the best player on the field. He reached some milestone numbers there in that game. But even with all that, it was barely enough, right? I mean, this guy's one of the best backs in the league. I'd probably put him, second or third, depending on the flavor of the week, behind Derrick Henry. But you can't say enough about what he did. He gained 179 of the team's 304 yards on 30 touches and scored the only touchdown of the game. Here's what he did. Kamara became the fastest player in NFL history to reach 3,000 career rushing yards and 3,000 career receiving yards in his 66th game. The previous record of 70 was set by the 49ers legendary running back Roger Craig. So pretty cool stuff there. Let's get to the rest of the week in the NFL, Week 7 that is. There were 6 teams, that had buys. Man, didn't that seem like a lot to you? It did to me. Bills, Cowboys, Vikings, Steelers, Chargers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We go back to last Thursday. Next man up, man. No Nick Chubb, no problem. Dearness Johnson, give me the ball. Cleveland Browns 17, Broncos 14. And this is a huge win for the Cleveland Browns because now at 4-3, you're kind of back into that wild card discussion. You've got patches of difficulty, patches of easiness here on the schedule remaining. But, in case Keenum played serviceable, in case Keenum knows Kevin Stefanski, his offense, his tricks, his trades, because they worked together in Minnesota. I mean, they went to the NFC Championship game together, these two. And it seems to me, just from hearing the experts talk about Kevin Stefanski, this guy is here to stay. He's the real deal. He's changed not only, and I know it's overused, but culture in Cleveland's building, but the offensive philosophy and the confidence of players and putting people in the right spot has been just a remarkable turnaround in Cleveland. We know last year they made the playoffs, knocked Kansas City out of the playoff game. They had Chad Henne in there and couldn't win, couldn't hold it down. Cleveland loses, Baker Mayfield, obviously. Going into this game, he's got, I guess, a tear and a break in that labrum, in that shoulder area. Can they get by a few games with Case Keenum? I think they can, as long as they're running the football, right? I mean, if they're running the football and the schemes are tailored towards Keenum, or when he gets back Baker, I think Cleveland could be okay here, and I think they could challenge for a playoff spot, maybe the 6th or 7th spot there, one of the wild cards. Cleveland, they're not a great team. They don't overwhelm you with anything, but they can beat you because they control the line of scrimmage. They give you a really hard time, defensively, because they've got big time players up front, shut down corners, you name it. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, Jadeveon Clowney. They had I thought a terrific draft as well. Beefing up a lot of spots and adding depth. Greg Newsome II's been a difference maker. Anthony Walker's been a stud. And how about Myles Garrett, by the way? 3 tackles and a sack and a half and a QB hit in that game. That's all. Their defense is really good. They can control the line, they play defense, they can run the ball, and then the play action goes off that. Cleveland beats Denver 17-14. Green Bay 24-10 over Washington. The football team, again, continues to really, really struggle. They have no quarterback play whatsoever outside of Taylor Heineke trying to create miracles. And I say that because, I don't think Taylor Heineke is a horrendous quarterback. I mean, clearly I think he's a backup quarterback, but we're dealing with a guy who goes back and his offensive line just falls apart the second he drops back. Aaron Rodgers was spectacular, 274 yards, 3 touchdowns, 27 for 35, spread it around to everybody in this game. In Green Bay, by the way, 6-1 overall, 3-0 at home. Remember all the week 1 reactions that we went through? Green Bay lost to the Saints week 1. They got killed. They haven't lost since. Okay? Week 1 in the NFL, again, remains the most overrated, overreactionary thing in sports. And by the way, it looks like the Packers are doing it with ease. Looks like they're not even trying so far. I think they've played, by my account, I think they've played probably B plus football. They haven't even delivered an A- game. What happens when they deliver an A game? Titans beat the Chiefs 27-3. They moved to 5-2, 3-4 for the Chiefs. And look, Tennessee is on the rise. Derrick Henry only had 86 yards in this game on 29 carries. He did throw for a touchdown, but you could see Kansas City's defense was all lined up just to stop him. It was all revolved around him, and just like how Henry threw the touchdown, he started to go up and start to run rather, and then he kind of stopped and popped and chucked it over the top. Well, Derrick Henry is arguably the most dangerous player in the NFL. And Kansas City then had no answer for all the other weapons. It looked a little bit like, from start to finish, the Bills-Titans game in the second half, where the Bills were kind of chomping at the bit to stop Henry. Tannehill play action, Tannehill roll out, third downs, Tannehill hits big physical receivers, A.J. Brown making plays, etc. And Tennessee, ended up winning the game. Josh Allen slipping on that 4th down and short. But Tannehill did another really, really, really good job. He threw a pick, but he did a pretty good, serviceable job. 21-27 for 270 and 1 touchdown. He split, the load. Pruitt and Jones got in the act. Reynolds got in the act. Henry caught a couple passes. A.J. Brown was the big dog for 8 catches, 133 and a touchdown. Right now, I think the Tennessee Titans are the class of the AFC. I don't think you can say it any other way. I think there's a couple of teams just behind them, Buffalo included, but Buffalo had a bye week and Buffalo just lost to Tennessee. So in fairness, because of that loss, while I think the Bills are the front runner long term in the AFC right now, I think at this moment, if you did power rankings, I'd have to put the Titans ahead of the Bills in the AFC. Do I think it will end that way? I sure hope not. But this Titan team is rocking right now, and their defense was all over, Patrick Mahomes. Fumble recovery, sacks, interceptions, you name it. And something's going on with the Chiefs right now, man. And we'll see what, Mahomes got decked in that game. We'll see if he's healthy, for week 8. But the Chiefs clearly have some serious problems. They look broken right now. I'm not giving up on them. But that is a big, big win for Tennessee, and it's a huge loss, not only for the Chiefs, but on the flip side, it's a big win for a lot of the other teams in the AFC. Most people thought the Chiefs would be a 13-14 win team again this year and be back in the AFC Championship game. As it turns out now, they need to do a lot of work to get to that number, and it will level out the records in the AFC if Kansas City ends up being, only an 11-win team, and let's say they win a wild card. It's going to be a much different looking AFC if Kansas City slips a little bit. Falcons over the Dolphins 30-28. They win on the coup field goal as time expired. And I got to tell you, nobody wanted to win this football game. I saw a good chunk of the end of this game, and it was just a sad story. It was a sad game. You can't say enough about Kyle Pitts. I mean, this guy is really, they're throwing it to him left, right, and everywhere in between. He's like the guy in the offense now as a rookie. I picked him to win Rookie of the Year. He's the best player coming out of the NFL draft, and he's just unstoppable. I mean, they tried double teaming him. He runs, he's a tight end at Florida, and he can play tight end now, but he plays a lot of outside. Man game. He can beat you in the gap. He can beat you in the zone. He can beat you across the middle. One-handed, two-handed, double team, single team. I mean, he is just every single possible thing you can imagine he's doing. And Atlanta, I thought for a while there that they were doing everything they could to lose that game, but they won it, and they hang in there at 3-3. Meanwhile, Miami is 0-3 at home, 1-6 overall. And I just can't find anything going right for them. I mean, other than, a splash by Gaskin here and a splash by Gesicki there, I think that's pretty much all Miami has going for it, right? They just don't have a quarterback situation that's great, although I will say, even though Tua threw those 2 interceptions, and let's face it, he struggled the entire year, he's been injured, blah, blah, blah. But this is actually the best Tua has looked the last few starts, and it's still, not very good. But, their defense, it was supposed to be, again, improved from last year. A 10-6 football team. Miami, they're getting beat in every facet of the game. And they make stupid mistakes at the end. The coaching staff is kind of clueless with the clock. Brian Flores, we were talking about him being on the rise. And look, it's only 1 year. They could figure some things out. But, when you go in and around that franchise and you kind of look at pieces and what they don't have, they still don't have a quarterback. And I think they lack some defensive guys who can help you get off the field on third down. And oh, by the way, remember all that draft capital that we've been talking about too, right? So things are not good for Miami, and now they go to Buffalo, a team that just had a bye week to prepare for them. Yikes. Patriots home for the Jets. They smoke the New York Jets 54-13. Mac Jones, phenomenal. And boy, Bill Belichick wanted to smash the Jets. Even if the Jets are a pathetic outfit, Bill Belichick wants them to go down. He wants to step on their throat. He wants to continue to keep the foot on the throat. And when the person stops breathing, he's going to kick them in the face and kick them while they're down. They were running play-action passes in the last 3 minutes, throwing bombs, etc. And I got to tell you, Damian Harris, man, I mean, he's the latest, next man up type of situation here. They traded Sony Michel for a bag of peanuts, and they saw something in Harris. The Patriots' offensive line was outstanding in this game. Him and Dearness Johnson had great games in Week 7 at the running back position. Brandon Bolden, maybe they found something there too. Hunter Henry finally getting in the act and comfortable in the offense a little bit as a red zone target. The Patriots are 3-4. This is a team that, again, I picked to win the third wild card in the AFC. Meanwhile, Zach Wilson will miss 2 to 4 weeks. He got injured with the PCL situation. He'll be out. The Jets are just awful. I mean, they're horrible. The offensive line is horrendous. Zach Wilson's super raw. No defensive playmakers. Robert Saleh continues to be overwhelmed. They're going nowhere but down, just like the Dolphins. And the Patriots are one win away from being 500 with a rookie quarterback. Giants over the Panthers 25-3. This game was a little bit, I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit of a shocker. It really was. I believed in Matt Rule going into this game. It's hard enough to win a game or 2 in a row, 3 in a row, right, in this league, which the Panthers started out the year 3-0. Darnold looked great. Everything looked rosy. But it's just as hard to lose 3 or 4 in a row. Eventually you got to beat somebody. Eventually somebody else doesn't look as good. You go off and have a great game. Somebody on your offense has a crazy great game. And you win, right? And so I thought that was going to happen for Carolina. On the road, inferior team, Giants, right? Weak offensive line, could maybe create a couple of turns. Nope. Sam Darnold was benched, and he was awful. The Giants used trickery. They used physicality. Daniel Jones with a one-handed catch, of course. And they did just enough where they needed to and won 25-3. Carolina scored 3 points in the first quarter, and that was it. I do give Joe Judge and his team a lot of credit because even though they beat a team that's just reeling, and timing, usually is everything, of course, too, in this league, when you catch an opponent. I will say that the New York Football Giants came out, and they really were after it from the beginning. They were the more aggressive team, and it really showed on the field. Panthers are now 3-4. They've lost 4 straight. Sam Darnold in the future for him now is in doubt. People in Carolina calling for Matt Rule to make a change already. They've been in the Deshaun Watson rumor talk here. So things quickly changing for the Panthers as we approach Week 8. The most impressive win of the week, Cincinnati Bengals over the Baltimore Ravens. Yes, the Cincinnati Bengals are 5-2 in first place. And what the Ravens did to the Chargers, the Bengals did to the Ravens. They absolutely, positively overwhelmed them with everything and anything on the field. Every single possible weapon they had, they just dominated against this Baltimore Raven defense. They really did. They were absolutely, positively fantastic. No answer for Jamar Chase. I think when you look at the Joe Burrow factor, it is real. And my big thing, too, is, as I've said a million times to Sunday, when you have a 3-headed monster in this league, a 3-pronged attack, and it's on offense, and it's a quarterback, and it's a number 1 wide receiver who can dominate, and it's a big-time running back, everything else falls into place. And that's exactly what happened. Joe Burrow went for 23 of 38 for 416 yards and 3 touchdowns. Did throw the pick, but he had a QBR of 79.7 and a rating of 113.5. Joe Mixon, 12 for 59 on the ground and a touchdown. But then you had Jamar Chase, 8 for 201 yards and a touchdown. On plays where Chase couldn't find himself, Uzoma, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, those guys are filling in. They have a monstrous, productive offense that can kill you with about 4 or 5 different weapons on this team. And, they got Perrine even as a backup. Samaje Perrine's a really good backup. He scored a touchdown, had 52 yards on 11 carries. So everything falls into place after Burrow, Mixon, and Jamar Chase. There's no question about it. And the Bengals now at 5-2 are in a hell of a position here in the AFC. Kudos to the Cincy Bengals on that big-time win on the road against Baltimore. Raiders 33-22 winners over the Philadelphia Eagles. It was too much Raider firepower. Second quarter, they scored 17. They scored 13 in the third. That was enough, 33-22. Eagles came back a little bit in the fourth quarter, scored 15, but it wasn't nearly enough. You had Drake, you had Carr. The Raiders right now are playing for something here, right? I mean, they fire John Gruden, and they're getting after it, and you can see it. They moved to 5-2. The AFC all of a sudden becoming very interesting because the Raiders and Bengals are winning. Rams beat the Lions 28-19. This game was kind of a slugfest, actually, and I know a lot of people were pulling, for Jared Goff to kind of have his day against his former team, and kind of how he got shipped out of LA and how it was kind of ugly. But it was Matt Stafford. In the end, he threw his 300th career touchdown pass to Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's been absolutely phenomenal this year. He's one of the top 2-3 fantasy players, I believe, as well. So if you've got him, you're definitely rolling, and certainly our guy David in our league is rolling. I believe is undefeated right now, and he has Cooper Kupp, so that obviously helps him a great deal. Actually, now that I think about it, let me look. Yeah, he's undefeated. So got a big time situation going on with Cooper Kupp, man. He is right now as good as any wide receiver in football. Now, do I think he's better than Devontae Adams? Do I think he's better than DeAndre Hopkins? No. But right now he's playing as well as anybody in the game. Rams 6-1. Lions have yet to win. Boy, do they play hard for Campbell, huh? Gee whiz. Cardinals beat the Texans 31-5. This should have probably been more lopsided. I just picked up Zach Ertz on the waiver wire. And he performed. 3 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, obviously this was a total mismatch going in. Kyler Murray, 3 touchdowns. Cardinals are now 7-0. And if you're a Cardinal fan, you got to start thinking about one thing and one thing only. How do we edge out Tampa Bay for home field? Right? Like, how do we edge out Tampa Bay? How do we edge out Green Bay? We gotta edge them out, and the Rams. It appears as though the 49ers are back in the pack a little bit. They got punched in the mouth by the Colts. Just a wonderful. Carson Wentz had his moments, and he threw that awful pick when he was stumbling forward and pressured. But this Colts team, Jonathan Taylor is a beast, and he's almost kind of like the Nick Chubb of the Colts. When he's running it the way he is, they go play action to Pittman. Wentz can get out of the pocket a little bit. Just a spectacular catch, that 28-yard TD that he pulled in. And the Colts now are playing better football, 3-4 on the year. 49ers back to the pack at 2-4. It was an ugly game. It was in the rain. I don't know what you do now at quarterback if you're the 49ers. I mean, Trey Lance has been out. Jimmy Garoppolo stinks. I don't know what you do. I really don't. Buccaneers rolled the Bears 38-3. Tom freaking Brady. And I know that it's easier now than ever, more easy now than ever to play the quarterback position. You can't hit anybody, blah, blah, blah. But Brady is still unbelievably effective. 20-36 for 211 yards and 4 touchdowns. It wasn't really the yards in this game. It wasn't really the efficiency in this game. It was the 4 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, threw for his 600th. And Mike Evans caught it, gave it to a fan, and Evans didn't know. He lost track of what the situation was, and they ended up having to ask to get the ball back. And hey, we'll give you some stuff. Well, I think they gave him like an autographed helmet and $1,000 in the Buck store. I just don't think that's enough. Some people might come back and say, "Well, yeah, it was a good fan gesture, though. You don't need to ask for a lot more." Hey, man, listen. The number 1 wide receiver for my favorite football team, he just gave me the football. This football is worth anywhere between $600,000 and $1 million. If I went and cashed this thing in, I might be set for the rest of my life. I don't know how old the guy is. I think he has a really good job at some medical center. Okay, great. But you cash that in, and let's say you get like $800,000. I mean, come on, that's a big deal. You could put, you could put four to 700 in your retirement fund and all that, and then kind of put the rest in some savings and bank accounts, where you're paying for stuff on a daily basis, and you can even go into some, investments and bonds and all that kind of stuff, and still have money left over. I can tell you right now, with 800 grand, I would be in pretty good shape. I'd be in pretty good shape. Now you're going to get taxed a little bit on it, but I think 800 grand, I'd be fine. I mean, I'd be totally fine. Since I quit corporate radio, I make way less money, but I also don't drive 26,500 miles and spend, 9 or 10 grand on gas, and I also get taxed more reasonably and all that sort of thing. So some things you lose, but then you gain on the back end to kind of shorten up how much you actually could lose. We'll see what happens here moving forward, but boy, I'm going to do a little power ranking on another episode this week. I would put the Bucs at number 1 in the NFL. I mentioned the Saints and Seahawks game on Monday night. It was just an ugly affair. 3-point win for the Saints. Lacked everything because of no quarterback play, with Russell Wilson being out, and of course Drew Brees is retired. But hats off to Alvin Kamara for all of his milestones. Again, the bye week teams: Jags, Chargers, Steelers, Vikings, Cowboys, and the Buffalo Bills. Mike Lindsley with you. It's the ML Sports Platter. Please do download, subscribe, leave feedback, and a 5-star review. We're brought to you by Brewerton Ace Hardware, Camillus Golf Club, your State Farm agent Matt Graham, Rosie's Corner, and Stanley Law Offices. Together, they'll work to get you the maximum award. Oh, hey, by the way, I have to hand out my game ball. I almost forgot. Remember week 6, I forgot my game ball. Usually don't let that happen, but this week for me, I mean, look, you've got a lot of choices here, but I got to give it to my guy Joe Burrow. 23 of 38 for 416 yards and 3 touchdowns. A spectacular effort. Could have easily given it to his teammate Jamar Chase, but again, it goes hand in hand. You got to have a receiver to throw to. You got to have a quarterback to get it to you. Joe Burrow right now working the offense, just incredibly efficient. And you know what? I'm going to go back into week 6 as well and hand out my game ball to who do I want to give it to? You know what? I'm going to give it to, there were some good performers. I'm going to give it to Dak Prescott in that wild shootout with the New England Patriots. 36 of 51 for 445 yards and 3 touchdowns. There you have it. That's it. That's the ML Sports Platter. Thanks for listening. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.